Hey guys, readathon in T-minus 13 minutes. We've got breakfast all set up. We have a caffeine injection and then some overnight oats. And then here is my TBR and some bits of brownies. And then this most excellent blanket, which can be an electric blanket because it's supposed to get cold here in the mid-Atlantic today. So I think I'm ready to go. Hey guys, it's 9:05, so this is my end of hour 1 update. I've gotten through 7%, or like 2 chapters of Killing Adonis, and like a bit of the audiobook of The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. I've been kind of unfocused because eating breakfast, cat is going insane, and it is freezing in this house, so I keep getting up and fiddling with the thermostat and making sure that all of the balcony doors are like properly closed. All of the balcony doors. I make my house sound so grandiose. Also, I have not started my Starbucks Frappuccino mocha thing because it's refrigerated, and that's just cannot face putting 50-degree fluids into my body. So I got some nice, I don't know, 110-degree fluids in the form of this tea, which is gonna keep me going. Okay, so top of hour 6 update. My mom has come over to join us,
Yes.
and we have both finished one book. I finished Killing Adonis. You finished?
I finished Lemony Snicket number 1.
Number 1.
The bad beginning. The bad beginning.
The bad beginning. Yes.
Bad beginning.
And so, since we fortuitously timed this, we decided it was time to do a Bhangra break. So we did 15 minutes of Bhangra, and now we're eating. So it's 2:30 over here, so we're in the middle of hour 7. I just finished my my participation in the live stream that Nicole's Adventures in SFF is doing. She's very brave to live stream the whole readathon.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I would scratch my ears or something. So I'm what page am I on? I'm on page 54 of We Have Always Lived in the Castle. What are you reading, Mom?
I am reading the second of the series of unfortunate events. This is The Reptile Room.
Yes. Well, yeah, you've met Stefano.
I have met Stefano
At this
with
point.
the eye tattoo on his ankle.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
No one else. If I got a tattoo, I would get an eye tattoo. For reals.
But not on my ankle.
I don't know. Is it painful to get tattoos on your ankle?
I'm thinking
Maybe like
so
a lot
bony.
of people have it on like the side of the foot.
Yeah, they do.
I'm gonna be as unspoilery as I can, but I just want to say, given the whole series, I have strong feelings about Uncle Monty. The way you feel about him in book 2 is different than the way you will feel about him in books 10, 11, 12, 13.
Does this mean I'm going to have to read?
You may be required to read those ones.
Okay.
And the ones in between as well.
Well, they do go fairly quickly.
Yeah.
I'm on page 50-something, 52
Yeah, so
now,
like a
so.
third of the way through. And
Quarter of the way through, this is a 200-page book,
Okay.
and I started half an hour ago, so.
Yeah. Yeah. I told you, if you want to read like 12 books during the readathon, do Lemony Snickets.
Yeah.
So I have now moved into the bedroom, which is perhaps a dangerous step. We've just hit hour 12, and I have finished the book I was reading, We Have Always Lived in the Castle, as well as chapter 4 of my audiobook, Tenant of Wildfell Hall. And so now I'm going to start the Fire Rose. I think I will be able to finish this in the 12 hours that remain. I'm planning to get like 3 hours of sleep maybe. So this is like 400 some pages, but it is, mass market paperback size, so, and relatively fluffy. So I can hopefully get through it. I also have a shower in store to help wake me up. I can do some more Bhangra if that is needed. And then I've brought Kissing the Witch to bed with me so that I have emergency fluff in case I need emergency fluff. So we are now in the middle of hour 13, and moving into bed was a bad idea. It's like not even 9 o'clock, and I'm like, man, sleepy. I have a tired kitty here, and I'm like, maybe I should just turn the lights off, you know? For Nova. I obviously can stay awake until 9 o'clock. But in terms of reading, I think I am going to give up on the Fire Rose. I've read the first... I solidly read the first chapter and the prologue, and then I sort of skimmed through the second chapter. And I'm like, this is kind of meh. Also, as I discussed in my October TBR, the back cover text tells you everything that's going to happen. There was an opportunity to have some ancient Greek text, which was not taken, and I was particularly interested in this because I speak a bunch of ancient languages, as does our heroine. And then there's my own personal pet peeve, which is that Mercedes Lackey did not do sufficient research into historical costuming. I am a historical costumer, and I am bothered when people do not care enough. So first off, she mistaked a stola for a hymation, which I'm like, okay, one's Greek, one's Roman, not trying to nitpick, but okay. But then she committed the unforgivable sin of having her heroine complain about the tightness of her corset. I hate it. I hate it when this happens. Women wore corsets for centuries. All the women in the West. And like, if this was such a hideous burden, don't you think they would have come up with a different way of supporting the boobs? None but the most silly of teenage girls would have tightened their corsets painfully. And if you look at original corsets, they wouldn't have fit someone with a 15-inch waist. They would have been too big for her. Like corsets, if you do a waist measurement, they're like 24 inches just with the fabric, ignoring the gap that you have in the back. Oh my god. I will talk your ear off about this subject if you want me to, but I'm guessing you don't want me to. So here's my revised plan for the evening. I'm going to read Kissing the Witch. It's a little over 200 pages, and the font is like this, so I think I can get through it relatively quickly. So I'd like to finish this tonight, and then I'm going to set my alarm for 3:30. I'll wake up at 3:30, and, excuse me, and get through as much of Smoke and Bone as I can before the 8 o'clock alarm bell sounds and I turn back into a pumpkin or whatever. Oh, also I wanted to make an addendum, but the light's gone all orange, so that's kind of weird. On the other hand, there is a kitty walking around in the background, so I thought you might enjoy that. I am using this note card as a bookmark. The Readathon website has made their own bookmark with like a list of like 24 numbers with lines next to them, so you can write what you read at each of the 24 hours. I tried to print this off, but I just had an awful time. Oh, the light's fixing itself. How kind of it. I was trying to use like chunkier paper. That's the right word for paper. Yes, obviously. But it sort of curved as it went through my printer, and like the first time I tried to do it, the bookmark was too big. It was like the full 11 inches long, and that's way bigger than most of my books, so it would get like bent over. And then I tried again, but like the first part of the numbers got cut off, and I didn't really want to like go in with pen and correct it, so I'm just using this note card where I have written the numbers 1 through 24. And also I wrote, this is the audiobook that I'm reading at the top, and then every time I start a new book, I write it down in the corresponding hour. So this will be my commemorative readathon bookmark. 4 a.m. Finishing this. You feel me? I made some tea, and I actually grabbed a knife to stir it with. That's the level that we're at right now. Okay, so it's now 5:54 a.m. and we are about to enter the final 2 hours of the readathon. I've just finished Kissing the Witch, which I enjoyed, and now I'm going to start Shadow and Bone. So I think 2 hours is enough to make a decent chunk out of this. That wasn't a good sentence. Also, I planned my groceries poorly, so I do not have enough milk to make my traditional readathon morning breakfast of cream of wheat. So I'm just going for some more overnight oats. This one has walnuts and chia seeds in it. And here we are on Monday morning after I spent Sunday pretty much non-functional in bed. Occasionally I'd walk over to the kitchen and get some food and then just go lie back down. But down to the real question, how many pages did I read this Dewey's readathon? Well, if you do some math, I figured out that I read approximately 109 pages of Killing Adonis, and then I read 146, or the entirety, of We Have Always Lived in the Castle. I called it 50, 40, I think I said 40 from the official tally, pages of The Fire Rose, because how do you count a page that you skim? I don't know. And then I read all, 228 pages of Kissing the Witch, and then 4 pages of Shadow and Bone. I got about 2/3 of the way through Kissing the Witch before I went to sleep at about 11:30 on Saturday night. And then I set my alarm for 3:30. That went off and I was like, oh no. So I gave myself another half hour. And then I got up at 4, finished Kissing the Witch, started this, and then I was just like, that's pretty much exactly what it was like. So I did put this down and go back to sleep relatively quickly, so I was not with it to the end of the readathon. I noticed that I've been getting like more chill every readathon. Maybe I'm just getting old. I'm no longer 22 anymore, you guys. I'm 23. I can't pull these all-nighters. I set my alarm so early because I have insomnia, not the kind that stops you from going to sleep, but the kind that stops you from staying asleep, so I normally wake up around 3:30 anyway. It's great, you should try my life. So my alarm was just supposed to be there to like remind me to get up and read, but I was totally out when the alarm went off, and I think next year I'm just not gonna set an alarm. I think I'll stay up a little bit later, like I normally go to bed 10-ish, maybe I'll stay up till like 11:30, that seems to work fine. And then whenever I wake up, which will be before 8, I'll wake up and I'll do some more reading, because I can't do this all night thing. Oh, but I also listened to 5 chapters of The Tenants of Wildfell Hall, and the sort of default book on Goodreads for The Tenants of Wildfell Hall is 535 pages, and the book has 53 chapters, so I'm pretty much just counting one chapter as 10 pages. So I read 50 pages of The Tenants of Wildfell Hall, which brings my grand total for the readathon to 577 pages, which I am quite happy with. That's, I think, my lowest so far, but I got more sleep and I wasn't reading a graphic novel, so I count this as a victory. So let me know how you did, and let me know if Mercedes Lackey has written anything better than The Fire Rose that I should read. Thank you very much for joining me in my readathon experience. Bye!